Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal talking about the government property which has been identified or declared as Waqf will not be deemed as Waqf after the commencement of the act. Is that true?
Look, if the Waqf provides for taking over a property, it does. There are a lot of properties. For example, you see the old heritage properties, the Taj Mahal and the Red Forts and so on and so forth. Now, these are ancient properties which come under the Archaeological Acts. How can you make a Waqf claim out of it? These are national heritages. You have got to draw a distinction between what is heritage property belonging to the nation and those properties which have come within the purview of the Waqf. Today, everything you are seeking to bring within the provisions of the Waqf. How can you do it? I mean, these are matters which need consideration by the court. You can't make random statements. Today, I turn around and say that any building standing in a particular place is a Waqf. How do you do it? What is the basis for it? You've got to have a historical purpose. You've got to have the names of the persons who have donated the properties. There are judgments of the Supreme Court and the Privy Council starting from 1890s on what a Waqf is. There's a certain system you have to follow. Because the government is making a law to standardize this practice.
But then, was there a question raised by Waqf board on who the owner of the property is and whether it needs to be brought back into Waqf board, Waqf trust before the Amendment Act was implemented? Why is there questions raised about this? Over the past several decades, questions have not been raised, contentions have not been made over the property where ancient monuments, the likes of Jama Masjid and the High Court that has been built on Waqf land, there have been no questions raised about the ownership of property.
Today questions are bound to be raised because property is becoming a matter in short supply. Everybody wants a ping in the properties. And the Waqf Act has come in because of the abuse of the authority of the people who are the trustees. They have been abusing this trust. That is what the bill says. To avoid misuse of the power of the Waqf board, that this is being done. You've got to preserve those properties. You can't go around selling them. You can't go around transferring rights. Those are sacred, sacrosanct positions which are donations in the name of the gods. But we are dealing with them in a manner that they are properties meant for the benefit of the members of the Waqf boards. That is what is the malice which they are trying to control.
Okay, and talking about why has the state appointed its officers to manage the Waqf trust? Why can't members of the Waqf trust who are appointed or elected by the trust be held responsible and trusted with the operations of Waqf?
If you see the Endowments Act which govern our Hindu temple, take for example Vaishno Devi. Most of the officers there are government officers. You take the Endowments Act which govern temples like Tirupati and so on and so forth. There again there are government officers. You look at the Sikh Act, the Gurdwara Act. There also there are government officers. The government has to be there to ensure that there is no abuse by the officers concerned. Eventually, lands which come by way of trusts have to be kept in trust. To get that trust done, you've got to have independent people because a board of trustees can always mismanage it. Under Section 92, the trusts are created. Trusts become a very big problem. All trust properties invariably go into litigation. Why should you permit that to happen?
Okay.
It is to avoid that you have government officers. We've got to rely on somebody independent.
And then also the question about why are there non-Muslims who are going to be part of the Waqf trust when something similar is not being followed in Hindu or Sikh endowments, where all members of the trust are Hindus or are Sikhs?
Matter which the court will be looking into now. You see, because the property is concerned in these cases are of a very wide and a different variety. So it is something which the court will take a call on. I don't want to comment because the matter is sub judice. There is much to be said.
Okay.
Being sub judice, that we keep our powder dry. Let the court decide what they have to say.